Making the headlines tonight. Prime Minister Hun Sen has affirmed that Cambodia's position remains the same in regard to the use of aggression and force in against other countries. Prime Minister Hun Sen confirmed that there are two options he has proposed to the Republic of Korea regarding the construction of the Cambodian-Korea Friendship Bridge. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has urged an end to the observed war started by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, warning it's going nowhere fast and that the Ukraine people are enduring a living hell. Australian tennis great number one Ash Barty has announced her retirement, saying, "This is the time right now for me to step away and chase other dreams and to put the rackets down." And there's many videos showing animals enjoying human activities from playing football to playing the piano. This donkey loves to listen to Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Judy Garland. This is the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Anthony Ellis. Prime Minister Hun Sen has affirmed that Cambodia's position remains the same in regards to the use of aggression and the force in against other countries. He made this affirmation while speaking in the inauguration ceremony of the National Road number 21 from Tak Mo City in Vietnamese border on Wednesday morning. EAC News reporter Decca Nin has more.
While speaking at the inauguration ceremony for the new section on National Road number 21, Prime Minister Hun Sen said that a Cambodian delegation asked for his opinion on whether to oppose or abstain on the vote regarding Russian aggression against Ukraine. He responded by saying that Cambodia's position on this war remains the same, in that the use of aggression and force in and against any country is strongly opposed. He said, "Our political line is that we do not support aggression from one country to another. This is our absolute position."
រឿងនេះមិនមែនរឿងតូចតាចទេរឿងបង្កើតឡើងនៅទម្លាប់អាក្រក់លើពិភពលោកអ្នកខ្លាំងគឺវាយអ្នកខ្សោយណាអញ្ចឹងបើវាយក្រោយអ្នកខ្លាំងវាយអ្នកខ្សោយនេះមកវាយមកលើយើងអ្នកណាជួយយើងទៀតបើយើងមិននៅអត់ឲ្យនិយាយគ្រាច្បាស់ចុះបើយើងប្រឆាំងគោលការណ៍ប្រកាន់គោលការណ៍មួយជាក់លាក់
On the 3rd of March, Cambodia voted with 140 other countries to support a UN resolution calling for Russia to immediately, completely, and unconditionally withdraw all of its military forces from the territory of Ukraine within its internationally recognized borders. The Russian invasion of Ukraine began on the 24th of February and has been ongoing for close to 4 weeks. The UN reports that 10 million Ukrainians have already fled their homes, with about 3.5 million seeking refuge in other countries. Dekanin, EAC News.
While speaking at the inauguration ceremony of National Road 21, running from Tak Mo City to the Vietnamese border on Wednesday morning, Prime Minister Hun Sen confirmed that there are two options that Cambodia has proposed to the Republic of Korea regarding the construction of the Cambodian-Korea Friendship Bridge, which will connect Phnom Penh to Svay Trom District's Svay Rieng Province. EAC News reporter Darshana Guchin has the details.
Prime Minister Hun Sen stated that Cambodia has proposed two options to the Republic of Korea for the construction of the Cambodia-Korea Friendship Bridge. The first one is to build a bridge from Choi Chung Var District in Phnom Penh to Svay Trom District in Svay Rieng Province. And the second option is to build two bridges, one that goes from the Phnom Penh Night Market to Choi Chung Var District, and another which connects Choi Chung Var to Svay Trom District. The Prime Minister added that these bridges will be constructed as cable-stayed bridges, and he hopes that the new President of the Republic of Korea will support Cambodia's proposed choices.
នៃការដាក់ចំណងតាក់ទងការទូតរវាងកម្ពុជានិងកូរ៉េសាធារណរដ្ឋកូរ៉េដែលខ្លួនខ្ញុំត្រូវតែពុះពៀធ្វើឲ្យខាតបាត់ហើយខ្ញុំមានមោទនភាពណាស់ក្នុងឋានៈជាស្ថាបនិកនៃការបង្កើតតំណែងទំនងការទូតឡើងវិញរវាងកម្ពុជានិងសាធារណរដ្ឋកូរ៉េ
Prime Minister Hun Sen first pushed for the re-establishment of Cambodian relations with the Republic of Korea in 1997. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
National Road number 21, connecting Tak Mo City to Tra Thom by the Cambodian-Vietnam border, was officially inaugurated on Wednesday morning under the joint presidency of the Prime Minister Hun Sen and the Korean ambassador to Cambodia, Park Hang-kaeyong. This road was built in concession from the Republic of Korea between 2017 and 2019 and has a total length of 63.6 kilometres. The Royal Government of Cambodia has planned to officially inaugurate this road back in 2021, but this was delayed due to COVID-19 pandemic. EAC News reporter Saipor Kong has more details.
Speaking at the inauguration ceremony for National Road Number 21 in Kandal Province, the Minister of Public Work and Transport Senior Minister Sun Chantol said that this road was built with a total budget of more than $60.92 million and connects Phnom Penh with other road network in Kandal Province through the three districts of Takma Saang and Kothom toward the Cambodia-Vietnam border. He said this road has been playing an important role in facilitating all kinds of transportation, especially goods and agriculture product trade between Cambodia and Vietnam, as well as promoting and transforming the border area into area of development and growth. The Korean ambassador to Cambodia, Park Hong-kyung, outlined the position of Korean assistant to Cambodia and said he believed that helping to build this road not only alleviate the hardship of the Cambodian people, but also facilitate the movement of goods, which reduces many costs. He said, "I hope this road will bring a new path of hope for the Cambodian people who use this road to boost their economy." Citizens who attended today's inauguration also expressed their happiness for this new infrastructural achievement. Many said that before this road was built, it was very difficult for them to travel and do different kinds of work, but now much of those difficulties are gone. A resident of Kandastung district, Kun Sok, said that he was very happy with the opening of the road today.
This road is important for the citizens of Kandal province. Connecting us to the Vietnamese borders, it is the lifeblood of our country.
Another resident of Kothom district, which directly borders Vietnam, 64-year-old U Bontari, said that it was previously difficult to travel due to the small roads in the area and the extensive amount of damage.
There is a need to travel fast. In the past, we had to drive very slowly. It would take us a long time to reach the provincial town of Kandal, but now it is much quicker. I would like to thank the Prime Minister for taking care of his citizens and building National Road Number 21.
Prime Minister Hun Sen spoke at the inauguration ceremony and recalled the hardship of the past, such as flood, road closure, road damage, and overall difficulty in using the road. He said that the construction of the new National Road Number 21 not only alleviated the hardship of the people, but also helped the national economy since it facilitated traffic of goods between Cambodia and Vietnam, and especially the connection of electricity from Vietnam. Cambodia and the Republic of Korea established diplomatic relations in 1997 through the effort of Prime Minister Hun Sen. Since then, the relationship between the two countries has been steadily increasing, with Korea providing a lot of financial and technical assistance to Cambodia. Prime Minister Hun Sen stated that he is proud that he successfully pushed for the establishment of diplomatic ties with Republic of Korea. Saripokong, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has told provincial governors and relevant ministers to step down and resign if they are unable to crack down on corrupt traders who are destroying the fish population in the Tolosap Lake. He said this in a very small matter that this should not be ignored by provincial governors or ministers. The Prime Minister made a strong remark while speaking at the closing ceremony of the 2021 Work Review meeting of the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries on Wednesday, 23rd of March.
ថ្នាក់កាន់ដល់ប៉ុណ្ណឹងបក្រាបពួកអាហ្នឹងមិនបានយើងមិនបាច់ធ្វើច្បាយខែទេយើងគ្រាត្រង់ហ្មងណាហើយក៏មិនបាច់ធ្វើរដ្ឋមន្ត្រីកសិកម្មមិនបាច់ធ្វើរដ្ឋមន្ត្រីធនធានទឹកមិនបាច់ធ្វើរដ្ឋមន្ត្រីបរិស្ថានអីទេណាបើគ្រាន់តែធ្វើប៉ុណ្ណឹងធ្វើមិនឈ្នះហ៎ណាកុំធ្វើមេរៀនកុំធ្វើមេប៉ូលីសតទៅទៀត
The Prime Minister stressed that it is relevant people in positions of power cannot solve a problem like this, then they should resign and striving to do better. He asked all the provincial governors around the Tolosap Lake to make a promise with him on their commitment to solve this problem. Prime Minister Hun Sen has ordered 6 provinces around the Tolosap Lake to increase efforts to prevention of deforestation and encroachment of flooding forest land for months after the launch of a campaign to reclaim land from invaders. EAC News reporter Lashana Guchin has more details.
The Prime Minister ordered the 6 provinces around the Tonle Sap Lake to up their efforts to prevent deforestation and flooded forest land encroachment while speaking at the closing ceremony of the 2021 Work Review meeting of the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries on Wednesday. Directly addressing the governors of the 6 provinces around the lake, the Prime Minister said, "What do you do as the governors of the provinces around the Tonle Sap Lake? Why have you allowed people to continue cutting down trees in the flooded forest?" He added that the 3 ministries in charge of the flooded forest, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Water Resources, and the Ministry of Environment, must immediately confiscate the land that people have encroached upon and take legal action against these perpetrators in order to protect the lake for the common good of the nation. It should be noted that until 10th March 2022, people living in 6 provinces around Tonle Sap Lake voluntarily returned over 63,000 hectares of land to the state, which can accommodate around 15,002 families. Upon later measurement, it was found that the return land actually amounted to a total of more than 87,000 hectares, which can accommodate up to 8,860 families and 10,837 plots of individual land. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
The ASEAN Special Envoy of Myanmar, Foreign Minister Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn, said in response to a question from EAC News that Myanmar leaders could be invited back to ASEAN Summit later this year if significant progress has been made implementing the ASEAN 5-point consensus. EAC News reporter Saipol Kong has the story.
Speaking at a press conference on the ASEAN Special Envoy visit to Myanmar, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn said that unless there is significant progress made in the ASEAN 5-point consensus, Myanmar will only be able to attend the ASEAN Summit later this year with a non-political delegation. He said that the decency of the progress made, however, is up to the ASEAN Foreign Minister to assess. But if enough progress is made in reducing the violence in Myanmar, calling on the Myanmar administration to implement an all-party ceasefire, advance humanitarian distribution, and make progress on meeting with all stakeholders, he believed that all ASEAN member states will welcome Myanmar back to the ASEAN family. He added that another point which is not stated in the 5-point consensus is that if some political prisoners are released to ease the tense situation, it will definitely be a positive political message for ASEAN members to consider. Previously, ASEAN member states have firmly said that unless there is progress made on the implementation of the ASEAN 5-point consensus, Myanmar will have to have non-political representative at the upcoming ASEAN summit. However, there have also been some diverging opinions on this matter, as the absence of an unconstitutional Myanmar representative would also mean that ASEAN is 9, and not the family of 10 it often prides itself for. Cambodia itself has stated wishing to maintain and strengthen ASEAN's existing capability, especially in the context of growing global competition from major power, and Cambodia sees the decision of keeping ASEAN as a unified 10 to be very important. The ASEAN Special Envoy Prak Sokhonn reiterated that he, along with 3 or 4 other countries, almost half of ASEAN, believe that military leader Min Aung Hlaing should represent Myanmar at the summit this year. He called back to last year's summit hosted by Brunei, saying that since there was no consensus, the ASEAN chair had decided to only invite non-political representatives, but Myanmar did not agree to this term and did not participate in the summit at all. The ASEAN 5-point consensus was agreed upon by ASEAN member states in April 2021 in Indonesia. The 5-point entail ending the violence, organizing constructive dialogue among stakeholders, sending humanitarian aid into Myanmar, appointing special envoy to facilitate talks, and allowing special envoys to enter the country. Sripokong, EAC News.
The Chairman of National Authority for Combating Drugs, Deputy Prime Minister K. Kim Young, together with a delegation from the Kingdom of Thailand and a delegation from the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, attended an inauguration ceremony of the new National Centre for the Drug Treatment and Rehabilitation for Place Nok Province on Tuesday morning. EAC News reporter Decca Nin has further details.
The Thai and Vietnamese ambassadors to Cambodia, Panyarat Pulhap and Nguyen Hun Tan, led delegations from their respective countries to attend the inauguration ceremony at the National Center for Drug Treatment and Rehabilitation in Sihanouk on Tuesday. The construction of the National Center started on the 10th of August 2017 and was completed on the 26th December 2021, before finally being officially inaugurated on the 22nd of March 2022. Speaking at the ceremony, the chairman of the National Construction Committee, General Chun Sawan, stated that the construction of the National Center includes new roads leading to the center, a total of 21 buildings, basketball courts, football fields, and volleyball courts, all built with a total budget of more than $7 million. The Minister of Social Affairs, Veterans and Youth Rehabilitation, Wong Sot, also spoke and stated that the construction of the National Center is very important to Cambodia and shows the dedication of the royal government to promoting the implementation of the law on drug control, as well as the 5-year National Plan on Drug Control 2019 to 2023, to strengthen the effectiveness of treatment, rehabilitation, and integration. On this occasion, the chairman of the National Authority for Combating Drugs, Deputy Prime Minister Kai Kam-yan, expressed his gratitude to the Minister of Interior, Deputy Prime Minister So Keng, and all other donors and stakeholders, especially those from Vietnam and Thailand, who helped to build this national center. He said this cross-country collaboration helps to strengthen the bonds of solidarity and friendship between the three countries. Setting the work direction for the following year, the Deputy Prime Minister urged different ministries and departments to do their part in running the center. He urged the Ministry of Social Affairs, Veterans and Youth Rehabilitation to continue strengthening and expanding their staff structure in accordance with the legal principles for management and service for this national center, and also continue mobilizing support from the private sector, especially in Sihanoukville, to help find jobs for children who receive medical treatment at the center. Regarding the role of the Ministry of Health, he stated that the committee in charge of the treatment and rehabilitation of drug addicts would be in charge of managing the medical equipment and staff at the center, and further urged the Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training to continue preparing and sending technical officers to provide vocational training to drug victims. He also advised the Ministry of Economy and Finance to continue coordinating the budget for the necessary expenses of travel related to the work of this national center. The General Secretariat of the National Authority for Combating Drugs to continue coordinating with relevant ministries and institutions to operate the center, and the General Commission of the National Police and the National Gendarmerie Command to continue cooperating with the center's security forces. Finally, Deputy Prime Minister Kai Kam-yan instructed the local authorities at all levels, relevant departments and units in Sihanoukville to continue to cooperate on security and other work as needed, and also requested Thai, Vietnamese, Chinese, national and international organizations and all other donors to continue providing additional financial support, training of human resources and technical equipment to ensure the sustainability of the treatment and rehabilitation of drug addicts in Cambodia. Dekanin EAC News.
Now for a look at the news making international headlines this Wednesday, the 23rd of March.
A drone video released on Tuesday, March 22, has showed explosions at factories and industrial buildings in Mariupol. The Azov Battalion of the National Guard of Ukraine, which released the video, has said in an accompanying caption that the Russians are chaotically firing enemy fire. Enemy aircraft are dropping bombs on the infrastructure at Mariupol. Factories and industrial enterprises that provided jobs and allowed them to conduct international trade are being destroyed. There's an evidence of the location of the Azov released material by comparing multiple buildings, structures, and roads around the compound with existing satellite imagery. Ukraine has said on Monday, March 21, it would not obey ultimatums from Russia after Moscow demanded it stop defending besieged Mariupol, where hundreds of thousands of civilians are suffering through Russian bombardments laying waste to their city. Russia's invasion, now on its fourth week, 1 month on Thursday, March 24, has largely installed, failing to capture any major city but causing massive destruction to residential areas.
Chinese football club Guangzhou Evergrande is building the world's largest stadium in Guangzhou City, an estimate cost of $1.7 billion. The eye-catching stadium, designed in a lotus flower shape by Shanghai-based American architect Hassan Syed, will accommodate 100,000 spectators, exceeding the scale of 98,000 people in the Camp Nou football field of Barcelona, Spain. It is planned to be completed and inaugurated by the end of 2022. Guangzhou Evergrande, which is one of the biggest teams in Asia, began the construction on 16 April 2020. The official of the club say the stadium will become a new world-class landmark comparable to the Sydney Opera House and Burj Khalifa in Dubai, and an important symbol of Chinese football to the world.
He survived the Nazi Buchenwald concentration camp during World War II. He survived the Dora Mittelbau concentration camp in the same war, and the Bergen-Belsen camp. Last week, Boris Romanchenko, a 96-year-old Holocaust survivor, was killed when shelling hit his ordinary flat in the war-ravaged Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. It is with horror that we report the violent death of 96-year-old Boris Romanchenko in the war in Ukraine, the Memorial for the Buchenwald survivors have said on Monday, March 21st in a statement. The multi-story apartment building where Romanchenko lived was shelled and caught on fire, the statement added. Kharkiv, Ukraine's second-largest city, has been under heavy fire from Russian artillery throughout the invasion, which Russian President Vladimir Putin calls a special military operation necessary to disarm and denazify its neighbor. Romanchenko was born on January 20, 1926 in Bondary, near the city of Sumy, according to the statement from the Buchenwald Memorial. He was deported to Dortmund in 1942, where he had to do forced mining labor. After an unsuccessful escape attempt, he was sent to the Buchenwald concentration camp in 1943, where more than 53,000 people were killed during World War II. He was then sent to Peenemünde on the Baltic Sea island of Usedom, where he worked as a forced laborer on the V-2 rocket program, the Dora Mittelbau concentration camp, and the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, the statement said. According to the memorial, Romanchenko had served for many years as the vice president of the Buchenwald Dora International Committee, devoting himself to documenting the Nazi crimes.
UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres on Tuesday, March 22nd, has urged the end of the absurd war started by Russia's invasion of Ukraine 1 month ago, warned as the conflict is going nowhere fast and the Ukrainian people are enduring a living hell.
Continuing the war in Ukraine is morally unacceptable, politically indefensible, and militarily nonsensical, Guterres told reporters in New York. Russia is pounding the besieged Ukrainian port of Mariupol into the ashes of a dead land, its local council said on Tuesday, describing 2 more huge bombs that it fell on the city that has been sealed off for weeks. Even if Mariupol falls, Ukraine cannot be conquered city by city, street by street, house by house, Guterres said. This war is unwinnable. Sooner or later, it will have to move from the battlefield to the peace table. It is time to end this absurd war, he has said. Russia has launched what it calls a special military operation on February 24 to destroy Ukrainians' military infrastructure. Ukraine and its Western allies have accused Moscow of attacking civilians indiscriminately. Moscow denies attacking civilians. Guterres has said sub-10 million Ukrainians have fled from their homes and warned that reverberations of war were being felt globally with the skyrocketing food, energy, and fertilizer prices threatening to spiral into a global hunger crisis. There is enough on the table to cease hostilities now and seriously negotiate now, Guterres has said.
This war is unwinnable. Sooner or later, it will have to move from the battlefield to the peace table. And that is inevitable. The only question is, how many more lives must be lost? How many more bombs must fall? How many Mariupols must be destroyed? How many more Ukrainians and Russians will be killed before everyone realizes that this war has no winners, only losers? How many more people will have to die in Ukraine? And how many people around the world will have to face hunger for this to stop? Continuing the war in Ukraine is morally unacceptable, politically indefensible, and militarily nonsensical. What I said from this podium almost 1 month ago should be even more evident today. By any measure, by even the shrewdest calculation, it is time to stop the fighting now and give peace a chance. It is time to end this absurd war. Thank you.
New Delhi and Bangladesh have the top list of capitals and countries with the worst quality air in 2021, respectively, according to the latest annual report by the Swiss air quality tech firm IQ Air on Tuesday. New Delhi and Bangladesh have held the top spots since 2018. The record started to be complied with, likely no surprise to millions of urban dwellers in East and South Asia. Experiencing frequent chest congestions, sore throats and stinging eyes, the region last year recorded the highest levels of the most dangerous type of air pollution in the world.
Based on the study released Tuesday by IQ Air, a Switzerland-based company operating a real-time air quality information platform, countries and regions in East Asia, Southeast Asia, and South Asia suffer from the highest annual average PM2.5 concentration weighted by population. PM2.5 is atmospheric particulate matter of 2.5 microns, a millionth of a meter, in diameter or less, which can penetrate human lungs and directly enter the bloodstream. PM2.5 actually kills more people than any other air quality pollutant, said Glory Dolphin-Hams, a chief executive officer of IQ Air North America. According to data from the company's global network, Bangladesh is the country with the worst PM2.5 air pollution, while New Delhi in neighboring India ranks at the bottom of the list of capital cities for bad air. Chad, Pakistan, Tajikistan, and India round out the 5 worst nations for air quality. Those seeking the cleanest air should head to the Southwest Pacific Ocean, to the French overseas territory of New Caledonia, whose main city, Noumea, also ranks at the top for a breath of fresh air among any capital. Other places where the air is most clear are the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico in the Caribbean and Cape Verde, in the Atlantic of the coast of Africa. Some parts of the developing world lack sufficient monitoring. We identified 3 underrepresented areas: Africa, the Middle East, and South America. Now that monitoring is at a sufficient level, IQ Air CEO has said, there are 2 countries, Chad and Tajikistan, that are among the most polluted countries that weren't on our report last year. Developed countries usually have a higher density of air quality monitors than developing countries and regions. In 2021, air pollution levels have increased from those of the previous year, when there was a decrease due to pandemic lockdowns, which resulted in less ground and air transportation. Another contributor to the rise in air pollution last year was an increase in wildfires, Dolphin-Hams has said. Air pollution is definitely a part of the climate factor formula. How significantly exactly is PM2.5 as part of that formula? I believe that's debatable, she added. The World Health Organization last September cut the recommended annual PM2.5 limit by half, from 10 micrograms per cubic meter to 5 micrograms per cubic meter, stating that the reduction would prevent millions of deaths. Scientists have applauded the new guidelines, but worry that some countries will have trouble implementing them, given that much of the world was failing to meet the older, less stringent standards. Air pollution also takes a significant economic toll, believed to be equivalent to 3% to 4% of the world's gross domestic product, according to the Greenpeace Environmental Group. The annual IQ Air reports, which began in 2017, are based on PM2.5 air quality data from what is now a total of 6,475 cities in 117 countries, regions, and territories. The global data comes from tens of thousands of regulatory and low-cost air quality monitoring systems operated by governments, nonprofit organizations, research institutions, and citizen scientists around the world, according to the company.
Japan has reacted angrily on Tuesday, March 22nd, after Russia has withdrawn from peace treaty talks with Japan and froze joint economic projects related to the dispute of Kuril Islands because of the sanctions imposed by Tokyo over the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Russia and Japan have still not formally ended World War II hostilities because of the standoff over islands just off Japan's northernmost island of Hokkaido, known in Russia as the Kurils and in Japan as the Northern Territories. The islands were seized by the Soviet Union at the end of World War II. This entire situation has been created by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and Russia's response to push this into Japan-Russia relations is extremely unfair and completely unacceptable. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has said, adding that Japan's attitudes towards seeking a peace treaty were unchanged, and it had protested the Russian move. Japan has imposed sanctions on 76 individuals, 7 banks, and 12 other bodies in Russia, most recently on Friday, March 18, and included defense officials and the state-owned arms exporter Rosoborono Export.
After the break, a look at all the latest sports news.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
Australian tennis great and current world number one, Ash Barty has announced her retirement from the sport at just 25 years of old, saying, "The time is now right for me to step away and chase other dreams and put the rackets down."
She retires with 15 titles less than 2 months after winning the Australian Open, her third Grand Slam singles triumph following the 2021 Wimbledon and 2019 French Open. Ash Barty, the person, has so many dreams she wants to chase after that don't necessarily involve traveling the world, being away from my family, being away from my home, which is where I always wanted to be, an emotional Barty said in a video posted on her Instagram account. "I'll never ever stop loving tennis. It's been a massive part of my life, but I think it's important that I get to enjoy the next part of my life. Ash Barty, the person, not Ash Barty, the athlete." She spent a total of 121 weeks as world number one. It marks Barty's second retirement from the sport, having walked away from the game as a teenager in the late 2014 after becoming disaffected by the tour. She returned in 2016 and rose rapidly up the rankings. "I wasn't quite sure of how I was going to do this," an emotional Barty said to a good friend and former doubles partner, Casey Delacroix, in a video posted to Barty's social media. She said, "It's hard to say. I'm so happy and I'm so ready. I just know at the moment in my heart for me as a person this is right. I know I've done this before, but in a different feeling," she said in an Instagram video. "I'm so grateful for tennis. It's given me all of my dreams plus more. But I know the time is right now for me to step away and chase other dreams and to put the racket down." WTA boss Steve Simon paid tribute to a player who has become synonymous with good sportsmanship and won fans worldwide for her brilliant tennis and laid-back demeanor. Ashley Barty, with her signature sliced backhand, complemented by being the ultimate competitor, has always led by example through the unwavering professionalism and sportsmanship she brought to every match, said Simon. With her accomplishments at the Grand Slams, WTA finals, and reaching the pinnacle ranking of number one in the world, she has clearly established herself as one of the great champions of the WTA.
2 hands, you got it! Yeah, one-y!
Rafael Nadal, after 20 wins out of 21 games and on top of his game, has suffered a stress fracture in his rib and will be out up to 6 weeks, the Spaniards team has said on Tuesday. Nadal, the winner of 21 Grand Slam single titles, complained of a chest issue during his run of the final of the ATP 1000 event in Indian Wells, California last week. Upon his arrival in Spain on Tuesday, Nadal visited his medical team in Barcelona for tests, which relieved a stress fracture in the third left coastal arc. "This is not good news and I did not expect this," Nadal said in a statement sent by his team. "I'm disappointed and sad because after a good start to the season, I was coming up to a very important part of the year with a very good feelings and good results. I have always had the spirit of fighting and I will work hard for my recovery." Nadal's injury occurred during the 3-set semi-final victory over teenage compatriot Carlos Alcaraz, but still played the final in which he went down to the American Taylor Fritz for his first loss after a season after 20 consecutive wins. His doctor said that the 35-year-old will be out of action for 4 to 6 weeks, ruling him out of the next month's Monte Carlo Masters and putting doubts over his participation in ATP 1000 events in Madrid and Rome in May. The French Open open this year's second major at Roland Garros, where Nadal has won record 13 titles, is scheduled to start from May 22. Nadal started the 2022 season unprepared, and which uncertainly looming over his due to a foot problem that forced him to miss a chunk of 2021 season, including Wimbledon, the Olympics and the US Open. After suffering a bout of COVID-19 before arriving in Melbourne in January, Nadal said he had even considered retiring when the foot problem that has troubled him throughout his career resurfaced last year. But that did not stop the left-hander from winning 3 consecutive titles in 2022, including the Australian Open, that helped him to increase his major haul to 21 and take the sole ownership of the men's record he had previously shared with Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer. Team Bike Exchange Dayco bagged a second consecutive stage win in as many days at the Volta Catania as Gaydon Groves took stage honours on Tuesday, 22nd of March.
Australian Groves pipped Phil Bauhaus of Bahrain victorious in a sprint finish to seal a first career World Tour stage victory as Hugo Hofstetter of Arkea Samsic completed the podium in third place. The 202.4 kilometers route from La Escala in Spain to Perpignan, France saw Jonas Ibersby Videberg become an unexpected race leader after the Team DSM rider grabbed 5 bonus seconds from his second successive day in the Brickway. Videberg holds the second advantage over yesterday's stage winner Michael Matthews of Team Bike Exchange Jayco. Stage 3 sees the riders faced with their first mountain test from Perpignan to La Molina. Meanwhile, cardiac tests conducted on Bahrain victorious Italian rider Sani Cobrelli have shown no signs of concerns of compromised functions after he collapsed at the end of the opening stage, where he finished second.
Now let's have a look at the weather and what you can expect for tomorrow. And finally, there are many videos showing animals enjoying human activities, from playing football to playing a piano. Some animals enjoying soothing music, like this donkey at the sanctuary in Idaho.
Don and Dean Fagan run a donkey sanctuary in Marengo, Ohio, called Jackass Junction. The farm has about 67 acres of land. The husband and wife first donkey rescue, named Mr. Donkey Donks, inspired the sanctuary's social media handle. Posted on their Instagram account, a donkey is seen melting in the arms of its caretaker from hearing his rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Currently, the sanctuary takes care of several mini donkeys.
I've dreamed of once in a lullaby.
Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup here on EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, check our website eacnews.asia or research EAC News on Telegram or on your favourite apps. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We'll see you then.